happening? What bowl did you guys go to? SMU?
Say that again?
What bowl did they end up going to?
Holiday Bowl.
Holiday.
It was a good season.
Yeah.
Not as good as last year.
Let's go.
Ryan's averaging the fewest amount of turnovers since he got in the starting lineup. I guess what does it take as a point guard to know how to just take care of the ball like that?
Yeah, I think for Ryan, it probably goes back to elementary, high school, or college. He, as a point guard, the responsibility of setting the table for others is high. So, to be able to do it at this level is also impressive. But he finds the open guy. He takes care of the ball. We get more shots with him on the floor. So it's good to have him on the floor and taking care of the ball.
Would you say making specific kind of passes and reads, is there some type of risk associated with it that maybe he doesn't kind of go for? Or?
That's a good question for him, to understand the risk or, understanding what he sees. I think keeps it simple. And sometimes when it's simple, a lot of times it looks easy, but it can be hard. Being able to have that relationship with the receiver is something that takes time, but for whatever reason, he's been able to do it here quickly.
In your day, you were never afraid to take chances, and the occasional turnover happens.
For sure.
Have you communicated that to him or kind of guided him that direction?
No. It's kind of like the pitcher, with the no-hitter. You try to stay out of the. Leave him, just let him be. Let him play his game. I know he got mad when he turned one over, I think, against Houston. But no, it's my job is he's throwing a no-hitter, stay as far away as possible. He's playing the game at a high level on both ends, and we need that.
I asked you about Najee up in OKC, but what is it? I mean, these 2 years with you guys, his numbers are decidedly up, and some of that probably comes with playing time. But even if you go by per 36 minutes, they're up. What has he been able to do to kind of make that jump to the next level?
Well, minutes is one, I think, but also just understanding what we're asking him to do, and he's doing that at a high level. We're asking him to defend, and then also, open shots take, and then his ability to put the ball on the floor and get in the paint and score with the floater at a high rate has been really good for us, and we need all those things for our team, but for him individually, again, he's just keeping it simple and boring. And then in this league, if you're simple and boring, you will have a successful career.
And has he gotten a good grasp on his strengths? I mean, he does get a lot of mid-range opportunities, it seems like.
Yeah, I think he understands. Again, he can dribble, and the ball touches the paint, and he's a little bit bigger than you think. So for his float game, he's very comfortable with that. We're comfortable with that. That's a shot that he works on. So for him to be able to get to that, we always believe it's going in.
We talked to AD about his position at the 5 while the books are out. What's your assessment of him in that role?
He's been great. No matter if the 5s are out or in, he's really good at the 5 on both ends, offense and defensively, and hopefully he'll be there for a while.
And then with Cooper, I know we've talked about just how remarkable he's been, but where does he compare to rookies that you've been associated with?
He's a number 1 pick. He's lived up to all the hype, understanding he knows how to play the game. To rank him with some of the rookies that I've been around, we'll wait until after the season to be able to give you a fair grading.
And then I know you're going to probably say that he can answer this better, but do you think that his splint on his finger is affecting his touch on the ball at all?
That I don't know, but I would say you have to ask him. He's playing with the splint. I don't have a splint, but I don't know if it's affecting him from my vantage point. But again, that's probably, he probably would say that it might affect him, but that's a question for him.
I don't know if the eye test was telling you anything.
I don't know if he uses that hand a lot, but no, he's been playing well with the splint. I think he's been playing really well since he's put the splint on.
And then Kyrie, he's just so much energy. always a great teammate. What has your assessment been like of seeing Tyree in this role? Because every player calls him player coach, you know?
Yeah, I think his energy has been really good. Being out, it's hard to be out, for this length.
Coop, I asked Coach this, but these first couple months, where do you think your game has grown the most so far in the NBA?
I think I'm just getting comfortable. I think just, growing and learning the pace and the speed of the game and just getting comfortable with, being myself out there and kind of just picking apart, defenses and just knowing the game at a higher level.
And what's been the biggest challenge for you so far?
Biggest challenge, I would say honestly just physically, just, the amount of games that we've played, traveling, a lot more. It's just different. College, you have so many days in between games and you get so much more rest. So I'll say that's been the biggest challenge.
Would you say that you're 100% healthy?
I'm definitely, I don't know if I would say 100%. I feel healthy for sure. I'm good to go. But, there's obviously, with the amount of games we play, there's always going to be like nagging things. And obviously, I've had stuff with my thumb going on. But I think, I'm good to go. It's just, there's always going to be something, you have to deal with. And that's just part about being mentally and physically tough and just, playing through some of that stuff.
Do you think that the thumb splint, affects your touch on the ball or anything?
It's definitely a change, and it's definitely, adds something to it. But, you figure it out, you play through it, and, you can't make any excuses. So, no, I don't think it really has any effect on it.
How much are fans and us seeing now? Did you feel like you kind of had to tiptoe into the season because you did have a lot of hype, obviously, but you were the new guy and you had a lot of vets on this team and all that, and now you're more comfortable and moving on and asserting yourself more? Is that a fair assessment?
I wouldn't say I tiptoed or anything. I think it's just, it's a learning curve for sure. And, I just went through the process and, I was trying to figure it out as best I can. And, it's not always going to be perfect. I made a lot of mistakes and, my coaches and teammates have been, confident in me every step of the way. So I think it's all it is just, them staying confident in me. And, obviously there's going to be mistakes and, trial and error. But I think we're just figuring it out.
You mentioned the rigid schedule with all the games, back-to-backs, constant travel. Just how have you tried to maximize this time where you got 5 days between games?
Yeah, just resting, actually, getting off my feet and, just chilling, not, doing a bunch of crazy stuff or, getting a ton of extra work in. Just picking my spots. I think, that's been the biggest thing, working with the medical team is just picking my spots when, I want to get my work in and when I'm on the court and really just maximizing what I can get, out of being on the court for, shorter periods of time.
Yeah, what specifically in practice have you guys tried to either clean up or tighten?
Yeah, I think we worked a lot on, obviously our offense, our spacing and, just figuring out that sort of stuff. So we just got to figure that out. I think that's something that, as we've kind of, been playing together more and more and gelling together as, a unit out there has kind of cleaned up itself. And I think our offense has started to gel a lot better. But, we just want to continue to work on that and continue to get better on that end.
I know that you're about to turn 19, but as far as 18-year-olds in the league, there's 2 big names, LeBron and Kobe. We talked about, seeing your name next to those guys. When you think about the legendary career that they had and kind of how they changed the game of basketball, and you do see your name next to a stat of those 2.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think, it makes me feel really blessed, just to be in this position, in this situation, and for everything to happen the way it did, for me at this point in my life, I never would have, imagined or dreamed about, any of this, when I was, younger. So I think, it's just a dream come true. And, I just feel so blessed and grateful to, be here and be surrounded by great people and surrounded by, those type of names. It's pretty cool.
What'd you think about that ACC championship game?
The football game?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. I'm not huge into college football, but, obviously it's good for Duke. For them to, get a big win and win the conference, I think it's huge. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't think we ever asked you about football teams.
Nah.
You got a pro football team?
I was a Patriots fan growing up, just because, that's the closest one, to Maine. But I'm not a huge football fan in general. So. No, I'm a Cowboys fan now.
Good answer.
Cowboys fan, for sure. But I grew up a Patriots fan. Tom Brady.
You're going to meet Jerry Jones, and he's going to make you feel like you're the only person in the world. You're going to love the Cowboys.